What's going on at West Ham? One win in 11 games has left them 18th in the league. This time last year, they were in 7th place. The time before that, 7th place. They were fighting Europa League, but now they're fighting relegation. This time last year, West Ham are massive, was trending on Twitter. This time, West Ham are massively in threat of relegation. But in this video, we're going to explore what's gone wrong and what's left them in this position where sacking David Moyes might have to be an option for them to stay in the Premier League. So first off, defensive numbers. They're actually pretty good. They're actually better than previous seasons. This season, they've conceded 29 goals, 7th ranked in the league. That's not too bad. 26 goals expected against them. That's the 4th best in the league. That's very good. At the same stage last season, they conceded 31 goals, so that's 2 more. Same stage 2 seasons ago, conceded 28 goals, so about the same. But it's an attack where things have gone completely wrong, but it's also things that happen defensively that are affecting the attack. So in attack, they've expected 28.3 goals, which is about middle road. They have the best in the league. But they scored 19, so that's an underperformance about 9 goals, which is 16th in the league. That's not very good. For a team that finished 7th last year, that were hoping to go into European places, spending £180 million to try and get there again, that's not very good. After the same games last season, 41 goals. Same stage as the season before, 34 goals. So a massive jump last season from the season before, but massive regression this time. Under half of the goals scored compared to last season. This is reflecting their points scale. This season, after 23 games, 20 points. Last season, 37 points. The season before, 39 points. So last season and the season before that, about the same. This season, again, nearly half of the points captured from the season before. And I think the reason for this is, this is what happened with Moyes at Man United. He got players that want to attack. He got players that are attack-minded and want to be on the ball more often than not. And I think this was a plan for this team for West Ham, is to be more on the ball. And this is kind of showing their signings. They got Lucas Paqueta from Lyon. He's a possession-based player. That Lyon side that he played in last season averaged 58.8% possession. Gianluca Scamacca, again, possession-based player. The Sassuolo side he played in last season, they averaged 55.3% possession, and West Ham averaged 47.9% possession last season. So you thought, with these players, along with the likes of Agar, Kehrer, they're ball-playing defenders, with like the Cornet and Emerson, you expect them to, and even Flynn Downs in midfield, you expect them to be more possession-based, and maybe get to 52, 53% possession, have 60% possession against the smaller teams. But it's worked the opposite way. They're now averaging just 43.8% possession in the Premier League this season. It's a massive drop-off. And with these possession-based players, it's really hindering them. Really hindering them. And I think it's because he's got these players like Paqueta and Emerson, who are primarily played in possession systems. Paqueta at AC Milan, even Emerson Palmieri, who was at Lyon, who's been at Chelsea, possession-based sides, is working these counter-attacking systems. It's not really working. I think this earlier season, Moyes tried to do this, but with it not working, he's gone more defensive, and it's not even working towards his favour. He thought, go defensive, get some results, but it's not working. And Lucas Paqueta is an example from this. Last season at Lyon, he averaged 65 touches per game. This season, 52, so it's getting less of the ball. He's going to be less effective when he's on the ball. And he's averaging touches way further back than he did last season. In the defensive third, last season, he averaged 7.3 touches per game. This season is up to 11.7, so he's getting the ball in deeper areas. And now that's not necessarily a bad thing, but you want the player you spent all this money on to get the ball into the areas where he can be effective at the pitch. That's what you brought him in for the goals and assists. Last season, he got 9 goals, 6 assists. This season, it's 2 goals, 2 assists. And that's because he's not getting into dangerous areas. In the attacking third, he's averaging 16.27 touches this season. 25.54 last season. In the penalty area, 2.32 last season, 3.53 this season. So you spent all this money on this great player who has the ability to be world class, one of the best on the ball players in the Premier League. But he restricts him to playing this more deeper role in a 4-2-3-1 or the 3-4-3 that he's been playing this season. And ask him to perform these defensive duties, which he's not used to. Playing Souček there in previous season, it worked because he's more defensive reliable. He knows he got more defensive know-how than Paqueta. And when he's on the ball, he's less willing to do any risk with it. Paqueta, when he's on the ball, he takes risks. He dribbles out of defence. He plays passes that might not come off. And because he's doing this stuff with less players further up the field, then the ball just keeps coming back to him. And that's why they're averaging less possessions. Souček will just get the ball, pass it to the nearest guy, and they'll just get up the pitch, play long ball. But Paqueta's not that kind of player. So adding these players has an adverse effect on their team. Set pieces is also another thing. Last few seasons, West Ham were the king of set pieces. In all the stats, they're one of the best. They averaged a goal from a corner every 3.8 games last season. This season, every 5.8 games. So they're scoring less from corners, and that was a big chunk of their goals from set pieces and corners. They scored 3 goals from other set pieces last season. Scored 0 this season. So with the attack also failing because their attacking players are pushed further back, they're getting forward less often, but also when they're getting forward, they're less productive with it from corners and set pieces. So all culminating in a really, really poor attack. But the funny thing is, when a West Ham do attack and attack well, they often get results. Last season, they created over 1.5 XG 15 times. This season, only 6. But results, last season, 10 wins, 1 draw, 4 losses in them games. That's a 60% win ratio. Very, very good. This season, only 6 times, 3 wins, 1 draw, 2 losses, 50% win ratio. That's very good. If they kept that going, they'd win more games statistically, but they're really, really struggling to create these chances. It's same with scoring 2+ goals. Last season they did it 17 times over the course of the season in Premier League. This season only 5 times. But when they have scored 2+ goals, last season 12 wins, 3 draws, 2 losses, 71% win ratio. So when they are able to score these goals, as being defensively solid, very good. And the same this season, they are better defensively, but that's because they've just put all their players in defensive positions. They're hard to break down, but the problem is they're not breaking up to go score. And when they do press high, they've got less defensive players in these positions to break the press. So they've scored 2+ goals 5 times, but in their 5 games they've won 4, drawn once. 80% win ratio. So when they do score 2 goals, they don't usually let in 2 goals. That's a very good win ratio for that. But they're really, really struggling to get into these positions. I know. I think Moyes is the wrong manager you want to progress the team to the next level. I understand they wanted to stick within the summer. I think they should have done. But the recruitment was very odd. You got players for a manager that is a possession-based manager. Moyes is not that. He should never try to be that. He will never try to be that. He was not even that at Man United when he had a title-winning team on his hands. So expecting Moyes to suddenly become this possession-based manager with these great attacking players, it's never been his style. He's always wanted workhorse players. And when he doesn't have a team full of workhorses, it's really, really failing. Not defensively. He can always get a good defensive team, but attacking-wise, really, really struggling. So they've got a decision to make, the West Ham board now. Do they back Moyes and recruit players that suit his system? Or do they get a new manager to suit the players they've recruited over some of the big investments? Paqueta and Scamacca together a lot of money. And they can't be wasting these players. And they will likely even leave at the end of the season, along with the Declan Rice. So they're going to have a big question marks over the rest of the season for West Ham. And that means maybe even sacking Moyes before the end of the season, because the way they're going right now, 1 win, 11 games, and that was against Frank Lampard's Everton side, in Frank Lampard's last game. So that's technically just doesn't really matter, or it does matter, but anybody was beating Everton at that point. So they've got a decision to make. Do they stick with Moyes, or they go for a more progressive manager to try and get this squad firstly out of the relegation zone, but then try to be that team that dominates the ball more often with these high quality players, because they're not that right now, and they're not really anything right now. They're just a team that sits back and just hopes for goals on their counter. They don't seem to come. Let me know in the comments whether you think Moyes should stay or go, whether you wait to the end of the season, whether you bite the bullet now. And also tell me what your thoughts of West Ham are also in the comments, but like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.